Good afternoon. Shawn here with Accelerators Organization. Let's get this mentor session started. Let me fix this. Sorry about that. There we go. Much better. Okay, let's get this session started. The first question comes from Kristen, and Kristen says, what are some things I need to consider when looking to hire a virtual assistant? Also, how much can I expect to pay them? The background is, as I am laying the foundation to scale my one-on-one nutrition coaching business, I'm finding the need to offload a bunch of busy work. Things like cleaning up auto transcriptions of my podcasts to send to my copywriter for content repurposing, blogs and social media posts, replying to applications from potential new clients and onboarding them onto my app, things like that. I have someone interested in the job, but she doesn't have virtual assistant experience. No clue what to offer her for pay, or should I go with a professional virtual assistant? Okay, well, good news, Kristen, is one of your mentors, Brad Stevens, who I will make sure and answer this question for you. He owns a virtual assistant company over in the Philippines. And many of the tasks that you are describing, my virtual assistant for AO, Honey, who sends you the emails with this question, posts in the Facebook group, she's a virtual assistant and she's over in the Philippines. And you can expect to pay somewhere between $800 a month to $2,000 a month, depending on the company or the individual that you look for. And if you'll send me DM on Facebook or on Instagram, I'll let you know a little more around that of where to look for, but that's for 40 hours a week, full-time position. And so there are some great financial rewards to using virtual assistants from outside the United States. So when you're looking to hire a virtual assistant, some of the things that they'll make you go through are what software platforms do they need to be able to use? What hours of work do you need for them? So those are the things you'll look for, of what you're specifically going to hire somebody for. And when you're talking to a company like Brad's, they might be able to find someone that can do multiple of those things for you and get them trained on multiple tasks administratively, instead of having to hire several people. Sometimes you can't get one virtual assistant that's going to do everything that you need administratively, so you might have to have a couple different virtual assistants. Another thing to take into consideration is virtual means they really can live anywhere. It doesn't necessarily have to be somebody in your neighborhood that you can meet with locally. And there are some pros and cons to having people that you can meet with face-to-face. For instance, I really like to meet with my graphic designer face-to-face and whiteboard things and talk about things instead of doing that online and on Zoom. We have much more productive meetings, but administratively speaking, those people can be anywhere. So that's what you want to consider when looking to hire a virtual assistant, and that's how much you can look to pay them. You might want to jump on the monthly Zoom with Dan Abate. I know he uses some virtual assistants as well, and he can talk to you more about that. But if you'd like to set up a call with Brad or someone on his team to talk about their stuff for virtual assistants, just shoot me an email to Shawn@askamillionaire.com, and I'm more than happy to get you an introduction. And he's got a whole onboarding thing. So if you're looking for a virtual assistant, that's where I would go. I would recommend that you work with Brad's company because I know they're professional. And if something happens to your virtual assistant, they're the ones that go out and find them. So you just tell them what you need and what you want, what duties, what programs they need to use, and then they go find the person and train them for you. Super, super great for small businesses like ours. Okay, hope that helps. Okay, the next question comes from Nico. And Nico says, should I incorporate my business, most likely an LLC in Florida where I reside, or are there more benefits to incorporating in a state like Delaware? The background is I've started a YouTube channel and I'm looking to monetize it in the future. I will most likely be starting an LLC for it. I have heard and read that incorporating in a state like Delaware has a lot of tax benefits. Also, my channel name is The Chitty Chef. but I'm also looking to possibly do other sorts of videos in the future. Do you think it would be best to make a generic business name and then file a DBA under the Chitty Chef name? Thanks for the input and have a happy new year. So I don't want to give you legal advice or accounting advice on this, but there's two things to take into consideration when you're trying to choose what type of organization for your business. You want to talk to an attorney to figure out what kind of legal protection you need, and you want to talk to an accountant to figure out what the tax ramifications are. So I will make sure to have Mark Kramer, Jeff Bruno, Dan Abate, and Tyler McBroom answer these for you. I think they're going to be a little bit more astute on this. As far as the branding is concerned around your name, the Chitty Chef, when we start company names, we want to make sure that any products and services that we're going to do under that name will fit the name. So take that into consideration on your branding. If you are going to start an LLC for Chitty Chef, then anything that you do product and service wise would need to reflect for that company. Now you could have other organizations and other companies of which you do things. So you could have multiple YouTube channels under different company names, and that's just fine. So that's something to take into consideration as well. The next question comes from Garrett, and Garrett says, hey, Shawn, what is the best way to manage my finances for the current side hustle that I'm trying to turn into a full-time job and pay taxes correctly? Background is I'm a freelance graphic designer. I'm going to have Jeff Bruno and Tyler McBroom answer this for you because I don't know if the software, I'm not up to date on the different softwares for small home-based businesses. I know that QuickBooks can work, but there might be other software platforms that Tyler, who's a CPA, and Jeff Bruno, who is a CPA and CFO, they might have some other software for small businesses to use. But I know that QuickBooks Online is very, very simple. But I would recommend that you get with a CPA for small businesses, and Tyler and Jeff. Jeff, probably not. Tyler, maybe, but there's also another member in the group, two members, Rosalie, as well as, oh my God, I'm having a brain fart. And I am so sorry, but I'm having a brain fart, only because she doesn't participate as much as I was like. Paula, Rosalie and Paula are also CPAs and bookkeepers, and they might be able to assist you, where Tyler and Jeff are more at the higher level side. Paula and Patricia might be able to help you as well. But I'm not a CPA, so I don't want to recommend. But I do know QuickBooks can do those things, but there might be better softwares to use for a small business like yours. Okay? Next question, and I know we've got a few questions from Shane. Next question comes from Shane. Shane says, how do I get employees to follow outlined processes? The background is construction business. We have processes outlined so that the product goes on correctly and also functions correctly. We also have this outlined so that we can gauge how quickly the project can be done and set the expectation with the customer. Okay, so I'm not understanding the background of the question, but how do you get employees to follow outlined processes? You just tell them to do it. I mean, what other option is there? How do I get them to do it? I just tell them to do it. So really the question might be, well, what do I do when they're not doing it? Okay, well, I don't know. But so the best way to how do you get employees to follow outline processes? Well, you give them the processes and tell them to follow it and then manage it. So first thing I want to do is if I give let's just say my administrative assistant, my virtual assistant, my job, if I'm wanting her to perform a task for me, my job is to document that task. And when I document it, I can document it in writing, video instruction, and maybe even audio instruction. 3 different ways that I can document the process. I then use a software called Trainual, Trainual, which is the software that we recommend for documenting processes. You can use the discount code AO10 for a 10% discount as an AO member. It's about $80, $90 a month. And I document all of my processes for my virtual assistant. That way I document it once, I give it to her, and then she can do it without having to ask me to do it. If she is performing the task and she does it wrong, and I notice that she does it wrong, then I have to determine, was the process that I created done wrong from a training perspective? Or does she just not follow my processes? And I want to have a conversation with her. Hey, honey, I noticed that you didn't follow this process correctly. Let's go over this. Let's do a quick Zoom. Let's jump into the actual process in Trainual and go over the module. Here is what I told you to do and showed you how to do. You did this. What was the disconnect? Is my training not right, or did you just kind of make a mistake and screw up? If it's a good person that meets the core values of your company and will admit that they made a mistake and that they want to learn and they'll accept responsibility, you're good to go. And as long as they have the capability of doing the actual process, then you should be good to go. Now, if she messes up again on that process, well, now I know that it's not my training. It's now I got to move into manager role. Okay, honey, this is now the second time that you made a mistake doing this. I know that you know how to follow processes and you can do this job. You're not doing the job. Why? Is everything okay at home? Maybe she has cancer. Maybe she got diagnosed and she's just not thinking. Maybe she's going through a divorce. Maybe she's sick. Maybe she has COVID. Maybe she has something. Something's going on. Why isn't she doing the job that she was trained correctly? She can do it from a skill perspective. And why isn't she doing it? That's my responsibility as a manager in managing her as a team member. And I want to create an environment where my team member will be honest with me and open so that we can get to the bottom of it, because I then have to determine, okay, is this going to continue and do I have to free up her future? Or if she's just being subordinate and just being rude and disrespectful to the processes and the environment that I'm creating, maybe she's making a decision to no longer work for me. And it's my job as a manager to get to the bottom of that. Are they being insubordinate? Do they not have the skill? And is the training correct? That's what we want to take a look at. Okay? Hope that helps. Next question comes from Shane, and Shane says, how do we show new employees and existing employees that our process for doing certain things with the jobs is the way that we want them done? The background is we are in the construction industry, and the saying is there are 1,000 different ways to get it done and still be at the same end result. We would like them to do it our way so that we can guarantee an outcome along with how long we are on the jobs to be finished correctly. Okay, great. So how do we show new employees and existing employees that our process for doing certain things with the jobs is the way we want them to do it? Well, we want to show them how to do it. It's that easy. So once again, in the previous question on this video, if somebody's watching this and you're watching this, you could even go to the question that's previous to this video on the YouTube channel or in the podcast that we're on. How do we show them? We want to document the process, which means we can document it one of three ways: in writing, in video, or audio, or a combination of all three. We then want to train them on it, make sure that they get a chance to ask questions for clarification so that they know exactly how to do it the way that we want them to do it. Then, when we put them out in the field or in the office and they are doing the work, if they don't do it exactly the way that we want them to do it, they are either not trained correctly, they are being insubordinate and might not be happy working where you are employing them, and it's our job as managers to figure out which it is. Which is also why it's very, very important when we hire people that it's important that they understand the culture and core values of our company. Because some companies, they're not real particular, and maybe they used to work for those companies and they're just used to that. And that's why as a manager and hiring them, it's really important that we get buy-in, that they are willing to do the work that we are hiring them to do the way that we want them to do it. However, we're also open to ideas. So for instance, Shane, maybe one of your contractors can come up with a solution that's better than the one you're training them. I would create an environment that says, listen, this is the way that we want you to do it. But after you've been here for 30, 60, 90 days, and you're doing it our way to start off, and we have some trust built up and a relationship and loyalty built up, we are open to ideas that you can bring to the table to discuss with us, but we do not want you implementing it in the field without letting us know and getting approval. It's not that we're trying to micromanage you or control you. We just want to make sure that we know in the office what's going on in the field, that if we send you to mow a yard, we know that that yard should take 1 hour and the quality assurance should be up to this level. So that way when you're done, we have accounted for an hour, because we don't want you going over an hour and a half, because that costs us money. And we don't want you doing it a different way, because then what if we send out another technician to mow that yard and they do it according to our standards, and then the customer says, well, last time John did it this way. That reflects poorly on the company. We really want to make sure that every job gets done the same from a quality assurance and customer satisfaction perspective. However, we are always open for ideas to make the company better. And we welcome those suggestions, but we would appreciate you suggesting them and getting approval before implementing it in the field. Hope that helps. Okay, the next question comes from Shane, and Shane says, how do you hold managers accountable for when they don't do the things they need to do for job deadlines? The background is we have managers that manage the locations, must be several locations. Some of the managers just let their team slide with deadlines, and it affects the profitability. It also affects the scheduling and also moving another customer back to a different date. They let the jobs run too long and doesn't really affect them in any way. Okay, great. So it's really important that the managers have a manager. And the manager of the managers, it's their role to train the managers according to the company specifications, from a process all the way down to timelines, estimates, dispatch, everything. The manager has to train the managers on knowing how to do their jobs according to the company's processes, and make sure that the manager has the buy-in, that the manager is trained, and the manager has the skill to manage the process. And that way, when the manager of the manager sees that a manager isn't doing things according to the company policy, the manager can have a meeting with the manager and say, hey, when we created this process, we agreed that it was going to be X, Y, Z. Well, you're missing Y, and that affected time, quality assurance, customer service, whatever it might be. What happened? Can we go through this training and make sure that you understand fully how it should be? That's when you're going to determine whether or not they are being insubordinate and just don't want to follow your systems and processes, and they're giving you a big, or do they not have the skill to do the job? And it's the manager of the manager's responsibility to determine which one it is. And if the person is being subordinate, then they are making a decision to no longer work at the company, and we need to accept that and let them free up their future. People will do whatever we allow them to do. Remember that. People will do and treat you the way that you let them treat you. Okay, next question comes from Jonathan. And Jonathan says, scaling a mobile at-home car wash business to one similar to Uber, how tangible was it for you to grow it, and can you help guide me? I own a mobile detailing company that comes to your location and washes your car on the spot. I carry all supplies with me in my van. Okay, so if I think of this as a Uber type situation and building a company like Uber, Uber is a platform. Somebody developed a software platform that let people join Uber from a customer perspective and from a provider perspective, the driver. So are you trying to create a software platform like Uber for car wash that you build the platform, customers can create accounts and find people in their local area to come out, decide to hire them, someone like the Uber driver says, I can come out and wash that car for this price, and you just create the platform? Is that what you're trying to do? And if so, my recommendation, and I'm going to have only one mentor answer this for you, is to talk to Brian Clayton. Because Brian built a platform like that for people that mow yards. It's called My Green Pal, or I think it's My Green Pal. And so Brian would be the person to speak with about how much it costs, how much marketing, and all those things. And I apologize. Let me plug my phone in. It's going a little bit dead. But Brian, to my knowledge, is the only person, Brian Clayton, is the only person in AO who has actually built a platform like that. And so you might want to talk to Brian. Give me 1 second, sorry. Okay, there we go. All right, sorry, I had to plug in my phone there. Okay, so Jonathan, Brian's going to answer that for you. Also, Jonathan, I do know that you asked a couple other questions, but I think that we have a call set up, a get out of jail call, and we're going to talk a little bit more about those things instead of here on the mentor session, okay? Okay, the next question comes from Robin, and Robin says, do you agree that exceptional products sell themselves? The background is, would this concept apply to any products such as art? Thank you so much. I'm an independent artist of Art for Calm. So Robin, can you rephrase that again? I want you to put that I am an independent artist. I call my art for Calm, and that's my business. You're not an independent artist of Art for Calm. Art for Calm is the name of your business, and you're an artist. Okay, so make that really clear for the rest of the mentors. So do I agree that exceptional products sell themselves? Well, my answer would be no, because if I had, in your situation, if I had a piece of art and it was sitting on my back wall right here, how can it sell itself when it's sitting in my house or in my office? Who would be able to buy it? No one would see it. So no, I don't think it sells itself. I think that I would have to put that piece of art in a gallery, and the gallery is going to sell it. Now, it could be sitting on a wall, and people come into a gallery in that environment, and they walk around and go, oh, I like that piece of art. This is how much it costs. Okay, I'll buy it. That makes sense. Or if you walk around a grocery store, there's no salesperson selling you a can of cream of wheat or a steak or some cheese or milk. So you could think that those are selling themselves, and a grocery store is nothing more than a gallery. So every piece of item in a grocery store is a piece of art. And people are walking around and going, I want to buy that piece of art. I want to buy that piece of art. So my responsibility as an artist would be, I need to get my product in front of as many people as possible. And the law of averages is going to say that out of 1,000 people, one person's going to buy it. So I want to be in as many places as possible. So that could be on a website. That could be on social media profiles. That could be on in galleries. It could be in hotels like Samuel's doing. It could be in a lot of different places. If I was an artist, I would for certain have my art on Instagram and Facebook. And on Instagram, they have the shopping on Instagram now that I can actually click on a post and it takes me right to the place to buy it. And so I would absolutely be selling my products on Instagram, 100%. Hope that helps answer your question. All right, the next question comes from Gabs. And Gab says, how can I get started figuring out what processes to develop and how many people to hire so that we are not overly dependent on any one particular employee? The background is our business is currently doing $1 million a year in revenue. We have 3 partners who all actively work in the business, 7 employees, and a lot of our contractors we work with on a project-by-project basis. We have also outsourced some of our processes. For example, a fulfillment center handles shipping orders from our e-commerce store. Everything works well when everybody's, quote, at their desk. But things start to get difficult when you remove any one person because of vacation or sickness. If it's a key employee that falls out for a couple of days, an entire process might completely stop for that duration, and the employee needs to play catch up when they return. I'm looking to make our company less dependent on any one person, but hiring backups for everyone is not financially feasible. I'm thinking we could make an additional 1 to 2 people work, but what do they do when the number one person for the job is not out sick or vacation? Okay, this is fantastic. So one of the things that I liked to do when I was growing my last company, and I do this today, even in a lot of things, I wear multiple hats. And so what I would look to do is figure out within your departments, could people be cross-trained just in case someone does fall out sick or is on vacation? How can you cross-train employees? Now, you could incentivize them that if somebody goes out sick and somebody fills in a role, you can incentivize them with additional pay, or this could just be part of your core values that people just do it and step up because people are going to do it for them when they're out. So that's what I would look to do, is how could I establish the processes for each of the duties that are done? And that way, if John is out tomorrow, I set out an additional process that says, if John isn't at work, Joe is going to pick up his duties and responsibilities for the days that John is out. So then what would that process be? John is going to be out. So my manager, let's just say it's me, Shawn recognizes that John is going to be out. So I go to the process. What happens when John is out of work? Oh, it says Joe has been cross-trained to perform the duties of John. Bring Joe into the office, let him know that John is out, take a look at the current workload and confirm that Joe can pick up the slack and knows how to do it all. And he's been trained and he knows how to do it. And that's the process. If there are processes or tasks that can't be done by Joe, then maybe I have multiple people pick up different things that John did and I cross-train. And ultimately, the hope and idea would be in a small company like yours that one of the 3 partners would be able to perform every single role in the company. So between the 3 partners collectively, there is nothing in the company that if an employee didn't show up, that one of the 3 owners couldn't pick up the slack. Okay, so ultimately you could set up a layered redundancy system. If Joe is out or John is out, then Joe can pick up. If John is out and Joe can't do the work, one of the 3 partners has to pick it up. This is one of the perils of running a small business, only doing $1 million. So one of the ways to combat this would be, if it takes the number of teammates that you have now to do $1 million, why not double and get to $2 million and have 2 people in each of the roles that you have in the company? And that way, if one of the people is out, the other picks it up and they know how to do it because they're doing it. That's one of the benefits of running a larger organization, is there is natural redundancy in roles. Make sense? Food for thought. I like the idea of having a $2 million business. Okay, the next question comes from Darby. And Darby says, is it okay for management to suggest privately to an employee that they should be cautious in their personal lifestyle because it is affecting others at work? The background is, I realize this is legally a touchy topic, and I'm not even sure I've asked the question appropriately. We have an employee who lives a very open and free-spirited lifestyle, which is fine. Personal is personal, but it is now affecting work and team members. The employee in question, though fully vaccinated, enjoys frequent, huge gatherings even while knowingly sick. She has had the flu twice in Q4 and COVID 5 times since the beginning of the pandemic. She then comes to work and spreads it, sometimes without symptoms. Is it a legal no-no to talk to her about being considerate with her personal lifestyle, since her continuously getting sick has now caused other team members to miss work due to catching things after spending the day with her? So this is certainly a legal question, and I don't know the answer to this one. I really don't. So I am going to get Jerry Morton, Jeff Bruno, Marcia, Shelley, Tyler, all who have a little bit more HR experience, but I really think that Shelley and Marcia might be your best bets. I would certainly, before talking to that employee, I would talk to a legal a legal human resources representative that could give you the law in your state as well as federal on what you can and can't do. I would wait to talk to an employee for something like that, because what I would want to do is I would want to talk to my legal professionals and my human resources professionals to determine what processes I can outline for my company that all employees have to follow. This could be testing. It could be a lot of different things, but I would tread lightly. And I think I'm glad that you asked this question. I think that you guys are working with Marcia. And if you're not, I would certainly pick up the phone and call Marcia or whoever you're using for HR. That is a very serious legal question. And I would like you to tread lightly so you don't open yourself up to a lawsuit. Okay. Keep me posted on that, Darby. Maybe do on your Flex Friday or do a separate post of what the learning experience and what you learned from this was, because all of us as small business owners, this is something that many of us may go through. And if you're going to go through that process, it would be awesome for you to share what you learned. Okay. And also, of course, we're going to get Marcia to answer this for you, but you might need something quicker. So I would pick up the phone and call Marcia. If you guys don't already work with her, why don't you send me an email to Shawn@askamillionaire.com and let me introduce you to Marcia, and you guys should have a consulting call with her or whoever you use as an HR person, okay? All right, that's the end of our mentor session. I hope everybody enjoyed this. I hope you got some good value out of it. If you're watching this and you're not an AO member, if you love what you see, go to acceleratorsorg.com and join, and you can ask questions for your business and get this same kind of assistance. Peace out, and we'll see you guys later. Have a great day, night, or morning, wherever you are in the world.